You're listening to the Valley Current.
But it sounds like you're pretty happy with where we are post-pandemic and post-insurrection in terms of Mr. Biden's first 30 days or so. Sounds like you're okay.
Who wouldn't be unless you got the brains of Trump and his followers?
Well, there's still a big group of those people around. Clearly, they're waiting for him to announce something. I don't know what he's going to announce. It seems like it's been awfully quiet, don't you think? From him?
No, it's been quiet because he doesn't have access to his outlets that he had previously.
Oh, he's lost the bully pulpit.
He's lost his phone, megaphone.
His megaphone is gone.
And that's a good thing.
Well, something tells me we haven't heard the last of that megaphone from him, that there's too much of his personality wrapped up in always having a megaphone going, and that we're going to see something. I just don't know when and how.
We still have advocates for Hitler.
Right.
Who was an early Trump. There's no difference. Hitler has his advocates today parading around. So I don't expect the Trump supporters to have any less historical future than the followers of Hitler still have today.
Maybe that's always going to be the case, that there are people that look for certain strong leadership, is what the way they would put it. They would say that's just a really strong leader. Well, even if it's a monarch, for that matter, that's just a really strong person. That's a person that can get things done, that somehow can, snap their fingers and make stuff happen. I mean, there's people that definitely believe that the presidency deserves like a strong man, not even a woman, like a strong man. It's got to be a man, and they've got to be like a dictator to be able to actually lead the country. And typically that doesn't happen in the United States.
That's been the history of human civilization, even before Alexander the Great.
So if you look back and you think to yourself, how many presidents have you had in your lifetime? I bet it must be more than 12, right?
Of course, I remember Franklin Roosevelt.
Right.
But so Hoover, who preceded him, I didn't know. I was born during the Hoover administration.
Right.
But what stands out in my mind more than anything as a result of the politics of today are the unbelievable parallels between the rise of Hitler and Goebbels and the whole Nazi regime compared to the absolute mirroring of those events that have occurred during the rise of Trumpism. There is little difference.
Well, the
exception...
We had
the burning down of the Reichstag, and now we have the insurrection in our own capital. We have propaganda by Hitler, by Goebbels, who I didn't invent the concept, but put it into words in German, that said the more frequent you tell a lie, the greater the likelihood it will be believed. And precisely what's been happening in the past 6 or 8 years of Trumpism.
With the exception, the notable exception perhaps, and I'll see if you agree with this, that Pence did not go the path of Goebbels the way in which he could have, because he could have decided to disrupt and support the insurrectionists, and he went in a more constitutional direction, at least in the sense that he didn't sort of do Trump's bidding. Trump really wanted him to somehow say, this is not going to be confirmed, and Pence put his foot down, even to the point where these insurrectionists were asking for Pence in person because they apparently wanted to beat him up or maybe even kill him. And, to me, that's some statement, if you want to make a statement of the power of a constitutional oath if you think that's what motivated Pence to do the right thing.
No, I don't think that happened at all. I think Pence, first of all, Pence was an example of a world-class toady.
Not at the very end, though, but not at the very end, because Trump
At
really...
the very end, he was persuaded by people around him to do what he did, because he had no answer in opposition to the dozens, if not hundreds, of people around him, both Republicans and Democrats, who persuaded him. I don't know how much persuasion he needed. Knowing his behavior, I would assume it would be a lot of persuasion. Maybe the threat to his life was a persuasive thing. But the fact that he did what he did prior to his loss of power is of no great importance to me. It's the whole spectrum of his Trump life that's more important. He sat there. Look at what he did with his heading of Trump's efforts to control the COVID virus. He did nothing. He was appointed the head of it. And what did he do? Nothing.
Well,
nothing.
Trump kind of took it. Trump gave him the power, but then kind of took it away, is the way I interpreted it.
Well, in the first couple of months. But after that, Trump left the room. And he left it entirely in the hands of Pence. Pence is a stooge. He's nothing more than a stooge and an ignoramus on top of it.
So you're saying he didn't, in your book, he didn't redeem himself at the very end?
No,
not at all. That's interesting because I interpreted that maybe he was trying to.
It's like telling me that McConnell redeemed himself for what he said after the impeachment, and he argued strongly against Trump. That doesn't make him
a saint.
A saint? Not at all. Look at his life's work and how he crippled this country. And what he did to get Supreme Court justices who were Trumpists onto the court. I mean, those are the critical things that man did. And his separation from Trump at the very end has no value.
Well, he's playing his cards.
He only did it because Trump's failure to oppose the running of the 2 seats in the Senate from Georgia made McConnell had him lose the Senate. And he will never forgive Trump for that. And his statements after the impeachment is an example of how angry he was at Trump, whose behavior played a key role in the winning of the Senate by the Democrats. It's obvious.
Oh, so you're saying that had Trump played ball with McConnell, then McConnell might not have been as strident about Trump can still be charged with criminal activity?
He didn't give a damn for McConnell or anyone else. Who did he give a damn for? Every associate he ever had left in anger or was fired by him or became a toady and a worshiper of Trump, just as Hitler's acolytes became toadies and supported everything that Hitler did. There's no difference.
No, but
tyrants are all the same.
Don't you agree that Pence could have stirred that insurrection equally as Trump did by saying, yes, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to vote against the certification. I'm going to disrupt it. We have to make a statement. Pence could have gotten on that bandwagon.
He hasn't got the spine to do that.
Well, I mean, that's
lackey. What has he ever done that's original? One thing, nothing.
So you're saying effectively he's neutered himself from any success in future politics because
he was the governor of Indiana. He he never did a damn thing that was helpful to his constituents.
So do you think his political career is basically over?
I hope so.
Like I thought maybe he redeemed himself because he hoped someday the Republican Party would make him be a president, make him be a candidate, make him be a nominee, make him be something. And they said to him, you're never going to be a nominee if you decide to get on this insurrection thing, because if you do that, it's over for you. And he parted ways right there. He said, look, Donald, I'd like to help you, but this is my political career now that's going to get killed if I join you in this. It's just a no-win situation.
No, I don't. Pence is just a ignoramus. He's never done anything that exemplified courage or originality. He's just been a toady for Trump. That's all he's been. Every single time you saw Trump, Toady was in the background nodding his head in support of whatever Trump said.
So let's wrap up on this question. Do you think the Republican Party is over because basically it's in disarray? It doesn't have an obvious successor to Trump. Trump will probably fragment the party because he's going to probably come out with his own little patriot party. That's the word on the street. He's building something here in Florida that's going to have its own denomination as the Patriots of the Republican Party, what might be called the extreme right wing of the Republican Party, just like you could argue there's an extreme left wing in the Democratic Party, and that will fracture. Both of those extremes will fracture each party, and I don't know where things will go unless we end up having some sort of compromise somewhere along the way. It's going to be a very fractured nation for the next who knows how many years, right?
Well, the Republican Party, as it existed up until 15 or 20 years ago, has in the past 15 or 20 years, and certainly in the past 4 years, disappeared as that label called Republican existed.
Right.
It's now so fragmented to call any part of it Republican. There may be some small part of it representative of what the Republican Party stood for 10 or 15 years ago. But the majority of the Republican Party is just chaos now. We just have to sit back and see who emerges as a leader.
Right.
If one ever emerges. There may be more than one emerging, which is a good thing, as long as they're in disarray and the Democrats retain their present semblance of organization,
right,
which is about as good as it can get. Surely there are Democrats, and I could name a couple of them, who are as bad as Trump. But in general, to put the label Republican Party onto what exists today under that name is ridiculous. They're not Republicans as the party was founded in Lincoln's days and up until 10 or 15 years ago. I hesitate to include the Bushes. So the Republican Party is just a name only. It has no resemblance at all of what the party was up until 10 years ago.
Tune in next time on The Valley Current.